Hello there, everybody.
My name is Jeff.
It's Kanan's Jedi Temple here. Once again, bringing you what is going to be a much more different video. I know it's going to be a hard video for me to make, and it's going to be a harder one for others to hear. But essentially, what this video is, it's going to be explaining why, for the majority of the time, I'm going to stop uploading on YouTube. And this is something I've given a lot of thought to over time. I'm going to explain why, and if you want a bit more information as to some of the stuff that has brought this on, there are 3 videos which I'll flash up on the screen right now, and those are that's the first video I did on this new channel of mine, and then the last 2 uploads I did before this one. I just want to say this is like nothing to do with subscriber base stuff, and it's purely for like reasons of stuff that's happening with YouTube that's now out of my hands. I'm not going to be able to keep up with or benefit from. So in this video is going to be a bit of an explanation for that, and what I'm going to do going forward in terms of like social media stuff. So what I'll do is I'll put some sections and transitions here. So let's flash up the first one for the explanation. Okay, so obviously a lot of the reasons that I'm quitting uploads here on YouTube is not really undecided stuff. I've spent some time thinking after the past couple of uploads and stuff, and I'm really sort of grateful for how those are going. It's like, obviously, stuff that's happened is quite literally outside of my hands now, and it's beginning to sort of take an effect on me in terms of, like, how do I ever sort of get past if YouTube make all these changes that they have recently. Particularly, you have the new partners program they're doing, you have the whole Logan Paul situation, which brings about other sorts of issues, not just for me as a small creator, but for many others as well. But also, I am sort of still here wondering, like, okay, so what do I do if I choose to do this? I sort of have thought about this a lot in my mind. Chris, who is editing this, doesn't actually know I'm going to be sending him this video. Oh, he didn't even know I was going to be making it. He'll obviously see it when I have done. He'll flash up all the cool edits and stuff and the memes to make the video a bit more a light-hearted one, because it is a bit more of a serious one. I'm sort of tired of having to do serious videos. So, there's a lot of factors that have played into this whole quitting the uploads here thing, and I'm sort of disappointed that YouTube ended up coming to this, because I think over time I had sort of been like, oh, YouTube will improve, it'll give smaller creators a chance now, and I really don't see that having happened. If anything, I see what has happened to YouTube being the opposite. And for those wondering, like, well, it doesn't really directly affect you because you're not monetized. No, I'm not, but it was also a way that, like, I also wanted to do YouTube just slowly over time to get big, and not all YouTubers are going to suffer the same way me or Chris have because of, like, YouTube's many faults and flaws. If anything, it's only really the smaller creators, and that's why I'm thinking I'm not going to be the only one to make this decision, but I'll also be probably one of, like, the first to make a proper video sort of voicing it. And there are other YouTubers who are larger, like Jacksepticeye, who I know isn't too pleased with, like, the way YouTube has been working lately. I think a lot of what I'm upset with is its current business practices. I'm upset with those. I'm upset with the fact that, like, this obviously will affect me negatively. And because of that, I have no other option but to stop uploading the bulk of my videos here. Now, it doesn't mean I'm quitting entirely. There'll be a few things that I will continue to upload here. But that'll come in the plans section. I'm really just, honestly, I think, sort of disappointed it came to this level. I've been on YouTube since I turned 13, so about 2012, and I've been here for about 6 years, and like 5 years of that I spent working on one particular channel. I've already stated what happened to that, so for those who want to know, that's the first video on my channel. But then, after all of that, and just like after however many issues were caused from it, it's just quite literally a mess, because now other YouTubers are going to begin to suffer as well. I don't know if I'm going to sort of go into the whole social media thing as much. I'll still be active on things like Twitter, and I'll still be doing things like that. And if you want to sort of keep up with me day to day, then I'll keep that going. But YouTube has basically turned into a place primarily for business. When I joined, it wasn't perfect, but it was still sort of looking at what its creators wanted. And I don't think I'll be the only YouTuber to do this. I think I will be among many. And if I had to lay the blame at anyone's doorstep, it would be Susan Wojcicki, because she is obviously YouTube's CEO. No, she is the one who's in charge of YouTube, and she's the one who seems only interested in making it purely for business practices. I can understand why to an extent, because it'll obviously cost a lot to keep a site like this running. So to a small extent, I can understand why. I can feel sympathetic for motives or reasons and similar things like that. But overall, I think YouTube is now just meant for pandering to advertising companies. It's not really how it should be working, for one. And then the creators really suffer more than anyone else because of things like that. I think one of the more obvious things that comes to a joint sort of idea on how this even works as a whole would be an adpocalypse situation. We've had several of those in like the past year. I don't know the reasons that we've had all of them, but I do know the reasons of enough that I think it's quite clear that if a big enough creator just makes one mistake without it even being intentional, like some YouTubers have made intentional mistakes, and I can understand the reason for cracking down on that. I would have a bit more respect, but like to take away monetization from every YouTuber is unfair. It's selfish, and you're forcing people away from your site because you are literally choosing to go and do things that only benefit you as a business because you're interested in advertisers. So no, that's my explanation. I just want to tell you sort of all what the plan is going to be and how I'm going to sort of go forward now. So let's have the next transition. The reasons have clearly been explained, and this is what's sort of going to happen, at least with me, next. I am going to upload on YouTube still temporarily to serve as a bit more of a transitional period, and I just want to sort of make it clear that, like, no, this isn't a situation I want it to be in, but I do sort of have backup plans, which I have thought over, but granted, if people don't really seem to think it's actually that much. I'm just looking at the thing down in the bottom left-hand corner there. So, obviously, that means people are asking, does that mean you're going to stop uploading anything at all? No, there's a few things which I think I have to limit to YouTube. The key things are going to be the game podcasts for the game I'm working on. I'll post updates of that here as well, when eventually that comes to it. And if over time YouTube looks to change, because I won't delete the channel, then I will come back to uploading on YouTube. The current plan for me moving away from YouTube at the moment is very simple, and it may hopefully provide me a bit more in terms of like opportunities to hopefully sort of grow my audience, get myself some exposure, do stuff like that, and hopefully I have a bit more of a shot at what I want to do. And that is very simple. I'll be going forward to two apps specifically for now. And those are, which Chris will flash up on the screen, Vine 2 and Musical.ly. I don't know if Vine 2 is a legitimate thing, which is why Musical.ly is another. I can do a lot of musical stuff up there. I've got the app downloaded on my phone already. I've not taken the time to start learning to use it yet, so I'll probably take a few days to do that. Hopefully, if things do change before, or I've made like the full-on transition, then I will gladly sort of go ahead, come back to YouTube. I'll continue to upload to YouTube. It's something obviously that's going to be very annoying for me personally, but also, I think I have to make this transition in order to be able to still have a chance at like doing what I want to in my life. Like obviously what I want to do in terms of music and acting, it's a lot more mainstream. Also it gives me like the opportunity to like at least have another way of doing it, and like this is going to be probably one of the best options I have. So it's not really without time and consideration that I'm making the video, but I do think it's one I've really been forced to make by YouTube's business practices, and I think if Chris were going to do the same, he'd probably cite very similar reasons. Normally, like what has happened with the past two videos, granted they were different situations, is he's put a say in at the end of the video. I think I'd rather that he makes a response video to this just dedicated for his channel only, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to collab with creators either. So while I've got Musically on my phone, I'll take the time to sort of learn how to use it, and I'll take the time to be like, okay, this is how things will work from here. This is how I sort of want things to go now. And it's all very simple. It's all very easy. It shouldn't really be too complicated. I'll obviously upload like a few test ones. I'll leave those public for a while. I'll have Musically a link in the description as well. That'll be something. I also just sort of want to say that, like, in terms of original music, there are going to be two places you can find that, and those will be here on YouTube or on my SoundCloud, which, again, I'll link in the description. It is heartbreaking to make this video. It is something I'd hoped to avoid doing, but, again, like, I think a lot of YouTube's business practices have been literally the things that have pushed me into this, because it doesn't give smaller creators any chance for exposure. Like bigger creators who aren't actually so relevant, they still have something to a degree that they can use. I would have nothing if I stayed on YouTube. I think that's a pretty obvious sort of factor, and I think for a while I was holding out a lot of hope to be like, is there a way this can be avoided? And over time I've come to the conclusion, no, it can't. I don't really know if it's going to be easy to gain followers on either of these platforms, but I'm thinking that if I do, and if eventually things happen that make those more public, then they will be, because let's face it, Musical.ly is not the most public app in the world for musical creators, but it is sort of one of the most popular. And Vine 2 is going to be its own thing. I don't even know if it's affiliated with Google. If it is, then that's something understandable, but I'd still be able to use my email account to get in to create a profile on there. I don't really know why YouTube has decided to allow itself to collapse so much. It really confuses me. It really disappoints me that I have lost my faith in it. But at the same time, it's not really unexpected either. So, that again is another factor of, well, this is YouTube's business practices. I'll still upload here. I'll upload for a while longer as well, while I do take the time to learn how to do these and stuff, because it's not going to be a very quick transition, I don't think. I think I've given a lot of time already to YouTube to try and fix itself. I don't think it's going to. I think the rate it's going is that YouTube has slowly just deteriorated it into something awful, something meant purely for business, and that is it. Yeah, and like the creators who are lucky enough, like, I applaud them obviously, but also again, only bigger creators like Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, Keemstar, H3H3, Casey Neistat, and all the creators like this, like them, are the ones who are going to have that chance and have that opportunity, because that is the only option that's really left. Like, the larger creators are the only ones who actually get the chance. There are obviously some who are somewhat in a middle ground, and the situation they're in is quite simple. The reason it's simple is because they still have the chance to gain monetization. Like, okay, they've got a big enough following that they're going to have opportunities like this. I think the first ones that come to mind would be Memulus and Will and E. I'm going to keep my channel alive, as I've said, and I don't really plan to delete it. What I plan to do is just to sort of move away from YouTube, to go and upload somewhere new, and to try and like have a shot somewhere else. It's sad as well because like I came on YouTube long before all of this happened, and I think I went in with a lot of arrogance, thinking like, oh, it should be easy to get big, loads of people enjoy watching videos. I was wrong, and I think going somewhere else gives me the chance to go in without that very arrogance. So that will be my take on it. So yeah, that is my take on it. So thank you everyone for watching. I'm sorry the screen went blank at the end. Chris will flash up an image of something, I'm sure. I'll take more time sort of later on to decide how best I want to explain this, how I want to continue. But this is literally my only option now. I'm somewhat tired of going around in circles with YouTube and other sort of sites because we've seen these kinds of business practices before. Until I make an official video saying I am officially moving away from YouTube, there will be uploads, there will be things that are done. Until then, everyone, thank you for watching. Have a good day, night, evening, or even morning, and as always, peace.